How did you get the name Big Daddy? Or who gave it to you?
Oh, Big Daddy. Everybody in UFC had a nickname. After they told me, Gary, you're fighting, and I said, well, what can I call myself? Give me a nickname. They came up with all sorts of different names, like a ridiculous name. And then a friend of mine, Cobra Rhodes, an arm wrestler, he said to me, why don't you go Big Pimp Daddy? And I said, that sounds good. I said, drop the pimp and I'll take it. So that's where Big Daddy came from. And around that time, I was hearing a lot of Big Daddies in football. Big Daddy this and Big Daddy, he's Big Daddy here, and wrestling and so on and so forth. So just lined up, why not? I'm Big Daddy.
What were some of the potential alternatives that you guys were talking about, if you remember?
There was a Killer, Midnight, the Black Avenger, and just all sorts of like crazy names. People just popped up. What about this? Because I went out and asked everybody, what name should I be? Because there was the Tank, and there was the Predator, and I didn't have a nickname. It was Gary Goodridge, so I had to come up with something.
Who do you think is the GOAT, the greatest of all time?
Greatest fighter of all time. I would say it would have to be Mike Tyson. I know he wouldn't take that. It would have to be Mike Tyson. Of course, Muhammad Ali is the GOAT, but there would be a hard time for Muhammad Ali to beat Mike Tyson. He's just one of those guys. He's just one in a billion people.
How about now? Is there any current active fighters, boxing, UFC, anywhere that you really admire?
Absolutely. First, the two boxers, Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. Those are top guys, man. I love these guys. And then there's John Jones. So if anybody was supposed to just fight, take off the gloves, just fight, it would have to be John Jones. He'd take those guys out easy. When you're talking about fighting, you're talking about fighting. So that's kick, punches, elbows. You're talking about fighting. He will win. It's hard to see John Jones not winning. If you put on the gloves and you give them rules, Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. But I think between the two of them, I think Anthony Joshua will win. Although they're great human beings. I love these guys. Not because of their boxing abilities, it's after, what they did with their money, helping other people, making 150 million there, and you're putting 10 million to these people and giving away money to help people. That's a champion.
What do you think about that Mike Tyson was supposed to fight Jake Paul? And what do you think about those type of YouTube fights with Jake Paul and those type of characters? Yeah.
The thing about that is that these are fights that people want to see. These are the average people want to see. So people follow the YouTuber, people follow Tyson, they know of Tyson. So it's curious, it's curiosity. Who's going to win? But what is even better is if you put a fighter fighting out of what he's used to. So from boxing to MMA, from MMA to boxing, it's curious. It's things that people want to know. Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. Do I want to see the killing? Yeah, I want to see the killing. I even bought tickets to go to it. So yeah, and then they changed it. So yeah. Do I want to see it? Yes, I want to see it.
A bit about arm wrestling. I mean, how did that journey even start?
Oh man, I used to arm wrestle as a child, like 12 years old. Going up, of course, you want to beat everyone. You want to beat your dad. And I remember my father taking me with one finger and beating me arm wrestling like this as I was a child. And it used to upset me because I couldn't beat this guy. He's just holding on to your finger and he's beating you like this. And so the big thing was beating my father. And finally, at the age of 15, there was an arm wrestling tournament in Barrie, where I live. It was just an arm wrestling, and they were giving $50. Whoa, $50! And when you're arm wrestling with your father at home, you arm wrestle with kids at school and other people. And I was beating them because I'm good. Or I thought I was. And these guys, so I said to these guys, I said, let's go down to this arm wrestling tournament. $50 for, $50 is like what, $10 now here? Nowadays, $5, $10. But back then, $50 was a lot of money. So we'll go win that money and then we'll go Kentucky Fried Chicken, buy us all buckets, and that was our thing, So we got down there and arm wrestled and I won. I won the heavyweight tournament, which was $50. Whoa! So it was a lot of money back then. You know? That's how arm wrestling started. When I was there, I met a fella named Phil Stoppard, which became my great friend even today. So he was on the Canadian arm wrestling team within a professional league, and so I just transferred over. I started doing a lot of monster arm wrestling with an apparatus, hands, and hold on to it, and arm wrestling. But the real arm wrestling, what's happening nowadays that you saw, I got that from Phil, and from Phil, I just went on and on and on and on, kept on going with it.
I wanted to talk to you about Pride, because you fought on the first ever Pride in Japan. And not only did you fight, I don't know if you know this, you got the first ever KO in Pride history, fighting the Russian Oleg, right?
Yeah.
Who was one of the first recognizable Russian fighters as well at the time.
Yeah.
So walk me through that. How does that feel? Did you know that you had that first ever Pride knockout?
No, I didn't know at the time. Well, it just happened, so
Yeah.
I never even thought of it like that.
Yeah.
All I knew that how I had Taktarov, and he just beat Tank Abbott. You know, a year ago, maybe 9 months ago, he just beat Tank Abbott, and Tank Abbott was a guy nobody could beat. Oleg just beat him, and Tank beat the crap out of this guy, and then he came back and won in the end. So I was very worried about that fight. Same thing like my first fight. I didn't want to lose it because everybody's going to think I'm an idiot. I'm coming into this event, the first match, and I'm going to lose to a guy that beat up Tank. So it played in my mind heavily. I didn't know what to do other than just fight. I just had to rely on just whatever. I didn't know how to fight. Although I had a few fights behind me now, I didn't really know how to fight yet. But I'm able now not to allow somebody to take me down. It was going to be hard for him to take me down, so the fight's going to be stand-up more than likely. So we get out, moving around. I'm trying to feel him out. Thank God he didn't run at me. Feeling around a little bit and sticking a jab here. And so I threw off a kick at him and I broke my foot. I didn't know I broke my foot at the time when I hit him, but I sure did about 2 minutes later. My foot, I couldn't put any weight on it, and it swelled up really big. But I got to pretend it's not hurting, because if I show it's hurting, then it's a weakness that somebody's going to come on to me with that. They're going to attack that. So I broke my foot. I knew I broke my foot. As soon as I hit him, I felt it. I have to pretend it's not hurting. You see, there's no different, nothing in my face. Business. I realized he doesn't really know what to do. I mean, he'll run in and do something and step back out. And when he comes in, I hit him a couple times and he goes back out. Then I think about my fifth hit, he starts bleeding here and then he starts bleeding here. And it's like, where the hell are these scratches coming from? I'm punching and these guys, he started bleeding. So I just kept on going, and I think he might have hit me once, maybe twice. And it was nothing but me giving him a beat down. So he hit the floor and he sat down on the floor trying to bum scoot, drag his butt on the ground like you see dogs doing with worms. He tried to bum scoot me like that, and he wanted me to come down on the ground, but I didn't want to do anything on the ground. So I stayed up there and I wouldn't let him get up because I wanted him to stay there so I could take advantage of it, but I didn't know how. We stood up, danced a little bit, and I knocked him out, bad knockout. It was the first person that got knocked out, and I've never seen it before, got carried out from the ring on a stretcher. Man, I felt bad. They had to bring a stretcher inside of the ring to take him out of the ring. I've never seen it. Even to this day, 30 years later, I've never seen that. Never seen somebody get out of the ring with a stretcher.
The next question I had was about your tooth.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
you remember that fight?
Yes.
Do I need to say more?
Glaube Fatoza, yeah. I got two teeth knocked out of my head. One by Glaube Fatoza and the other one by Fedor Emelianenko. Mm-hmm. So Glaube kicked one out and it went flying. Is that what you're talking about? It kicked out of my mouth and it went in and broke the front of the jaw, the front of the teeth, and then it flew out of my mouth. I don't know what happened, but it flew out of my mouth. And I saw it and I went to run, my tooth. He said, don't worry about it, keep going. So I'm like, what? My tooth just flew out of my head and I'm not stopping this shit. So, my tooth, I had the mouth guard on. It just went through the pressure, just too much. a kick to the tooth. And then after the one with Fedor, you want me to go with that? He was just ground and pound, and just one of the shots just knocked the tooth right out. So it went right through the mouth guard, because you can see the mouth guard. It's got a cut in it right into the tooth, and it popped out.
Thoughts on fighting Fedor?
Oh man, this guy, everybody says, man, he's so tough, he's so this. But what it is to me, what happened to me is that how I'm a boxer type of approach. You stick a jab, see how people react. You stick a jab, and at that point in my career, that's what I was into. I knew he was a badass dude to hit. I knew he was good on the ground, but I'm good at standing up. I'm terrible on the ground, so I'm going to see him standing up. So I came out, stick a jab, watch what he does, stick a jab. That's how I fought. So we came out, and I wanted to stick a jab. He nice and stays back out of the way, so I can't jab. He's out. And he's out nice and this, 100% on you. That's how I felt. Stayed back, and then 100%. Me, I was expecting 15%, and then you build up from there. But he was 0 to 100. And in those flails, knocked me silly, and I was done. I was done. The first or second strike he threw, it clipped me, and I was out.
But that was a short notice fight, or no?
Yes, that was right? I got that fight when I was in the air going across to Japan. What happened was Mark Coleman was supposed to fight him. And of course, I wanted to corner Mark Coleman. So we're on the plane, and Mark Coleman said, Daddy, I'm not in shape to fight this guy. And I said, well, what do you mean you're not in shape? Well, I'm pretty sure they're going to ask you to fight him. I'm going over to corner him, but he's telling me I'm going to fight. I hadn't trained a second for that fight. And I got it on the way over. I thought, I'm going to fight Fedor. He said, well, I'm pretty sure they're going to ask you to fight because I ain't fighting. He says, I'm not ready yet. You're not ready? Well, what do you think I am? So I'm telling him, if you're not ready, what do you think I am? Well, I can't take a loss yet. You don't mind? Which I didn't, So I got over there, and I'm thinking they were paying Coleman $250,000 or something stupid like that. I didn't know, but now looking back, and I'm thinking it was $250,000, something like that. They offered me $100,000. Well, first they offered me 70, and I said no, I want more. And then they said 75. I said no, I want 100. So it said we settled on 100, and that's how it went. And I wanted 100 win or lose, and another 100 if I won. So they agreed on it, and off I went. I was their pinch hitter back then. Pinch hitter mean that how if somebody can take a fight, they knew I probably would. Because to me, fighting was, how can you fight and how can you be a fighter and not want to fight? How can you be a fighter and not want to fight anybody, anytime, anywhere? Any style, it doesn't matter. This was my thought. My thinking was, I can beat anybody, and I'm willing to prove it. Doesn't matter what you do, I'm going to beat your ass. That was my way of looking at it. But back then, people were watching their record of win and lose. Me, I didn't give a shit. I'm a fighter. I'm going to fight you. I'm going to give you my best regardless. I didn't see back then to watch my win and loss record. I'm a fighter. I'm going to fight. How you doing? It's Gary Goodridge. I want you to like my videos and subscribe for more content coming up. Peace.